Are you having a fear or a phobia that is holding you back from something in life, really limiting you and really triggering fear and freeze response in you that's keeping you from really just enjoying life? Well, today I want to talk about a little bit about how that happens and things that we can do to help to change it, to move in a good direction, to get our life back on track and get some freedom again. My name is Arne Pedersen from Awareness and Health. I'm a mindfulness-based counseling hypnotherapist in Victoria, BC. I work with people online and in person to help them through all kinds of these emotional challenges such as anxiety, fears, phobias, OCD, ADHD, PTSD, depression, things like that. And I help them to reconnect back to their body, back into a personal freedom and confidence to be able to live the life that they want to live. Now, with fears and phobias, there's something going on that's triggering us. Now, it's a phobia because it's not really happening in a sense. It's an irrational fear. And it's based on something from the past where something happened we weren't able to deal with, or an accumulation of things. Maybe we weren't taught to be with what we feel. Maybe experiences happened where we did feel afraid. But the subconscious mind, it filed it in its long-term memory in its filing cabinets. And years later, this fear or phobia can be affecting us, but it doesn't make any sense that, it might be a fear of flying. It might be a fear of lizards or snakes or frogs or something like that. And it could be a fear of anything. And so if we think of it as something in the past happened, now I want to give a little example. That I was going on a trip many years ago, somewhere, a trip where we had to fly. And I was having this huge panic attack and just going into the travel agency to book, this trip to this place we wanted to go, that I knew I wasn't going to be able to even get to the airport. And I knew that if we paid for this, this flight, that I was just I wasn't gonna go. And I wanted to go on this trip though. And so I didn't understand why I was so afraid of flying, because I flew when I was a kid. I flew a few times and I was fine. And it didn't make any sense. And so I ended up seeing a hypnotherapist. And this is actually one of the things that motivated me to train in hypnotherapy and to help people through this modality. And so what happened is the hypnotherapist worked with me to resolve it, but the hypnotherapist helped me understand what was causing it. That 20 years before this experience, this trip I wanted to go on, that I was going through a divorce. And it was a really challenging emotional experience. I mean, at the time, it was the most overwhelming, difficult experience emotionally that I'd ever experienced. And so we were actually planning on going on this trip to Hawaii, and we were going to have to fly there. And I almost didn't go, and because of everything that was going on in the relationship, and we were not quite at this point where we were divorcing, but we did shortly after. And we ended up, I chose to go on the trip. And what happened is on the trip, that because it was right at the time where I was going through all of these difficult emotions of fighting in the relationship, the difficulties, and things weren't working and everything was just falling apart, that my subconscious mind associated that to the flight, because it was right in that moment in time where we actually divorced. That filed for divorce right after this trip. And so we were right in the precipice of that before we were going. And so my subconscious, it decided flying and divorce, same thing, that they were connected together. And years later, it wouldn't let me get on a plane, because there's no way in the world my subconscious mind was going to let me feel that horrible energy ever again of what I went through with the divorcing. It was really, really difficult emotional experience. But my subconscious mind, it didn't know it was 20 years later. This was a new relationship, or another different relationship that was a good relationship. And I wasn't going through a divorce at that point in time. But it didn't understand that. It just saw the flight and the divorcing, grouped it in with that, and there's no way in the world it was going to let me fly, so it gave me panic attacks to keep me from even going to the travel agency, and it was going to keep me from getting on that plane and do anything it could to keep me from doing that. So that's a phobia, and it could be with anything. And so the best way to resolve it, and actually we did hypnotherapy with this, but what really worked for me and what with clients who have phobias of all kinds of things really works is connecting back into the present moment to a place where we can go, okay, what is going on? Is there anything unsafe going on? Is this actually anything to do with what's going on? Is what I'm feeling caused really by what's going on in the present moment? Or is it from something long ago in the past? When we recognize, I've had this feeling before, this is an old feeling, this isn't really what's going on. What's going on is okay, it's actually safe. Then we're able to breathe through it, connect back to our body, and we're able to mindfully guide ourselves through the steps to move forward to what we want to do. And if we can handle what we feel and be with it, and process through those emotions and feeling sensations in our body, then we can do it. The problem is always the feelings and emotions that arise. That's what stops us. We get overwhelmed because we can't be with what we're feeling, and we can't deal with the feeling sensations and those emotions. And so that stops us. But if we can be with what we feel, we can do what we're doing, because we can be with what we feel through the doing it that brings up those feelings. You see? Does that make sense? We start to build an emotional competence of being with what we feel through the process of stepping into the unknown, stepping into feelings that normally would limit us in life. But to do that, we have to be present with our feelings and practice, cultivating a healthy relationship with them. That takes awareness practice. Practice being aware of what we feel. Practice being with our body sensations. I suggest every day taking time to sit and be with what we feel in a safe place. It has to be safe. We need to connect, associate the feeling of safety to our body feelings and sensations. So a place where you can be left undisturbed, a place where you have the time to actually not feel rushed. You don't want to bring a rushed feeling or a panic feeling in doing this. And you're going to get distracted a million times. You know, you might feel stressed of, I keep trying to sit and meditate and focus on my breathing, my body feelings and sensations, but I just keep getting pulled off and distracted. There's no point in doing this. But just notice. When you notice you're being distracted, keep coming back. Practice, keep coming back. In time, in a month of doing this every day for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, you're going to build the habit, an automatic subconscious habit, a new habit of coming back to what you feel. And you're going to be associating the feeling of safety because it's a safe place you did it in, it's a calm place you did it in. And then in time, when there's something that's going on and you get triggered into a fear or a phobia, you can stop. You'll be practice at coming back to your body enough that, okay, I'm just going to ground, feel my feet on the ground here, feel grounded, centered, go into my breathing, a few slow, relaxed breaths. Bringing yourself back enough where you can then look around and assess, is there any danger to my well-being in this moment? Or is this an irrational fear or phobia that my subconscious is triggering me fearful, overwhelming emotions? And when you establish that, yeah, it is actually an irrational fear that's going on, okay, I can then look around, it's safe, I can breathe, I practice doing this in a safe place. So as I go into my breathing, it helps my subconscious calm down. It helps turn fight or flight off. And then I can go into a state of homeostasis, of ease and and I can help my body be in more of a relaxed state where I can then assess what the next steps are, and I can mindfully respond to the circumstance and move forward bit by bit and be with what I feel. And in time, this will slowly dissolve the fear and phobia. Now, at times, we need to get help. We need to talk to a professional to help us to resolve and figure out maybe what the old original triggering event was that is causing this fear and phobia. And if you want, I do video consultations, 1 hour free video consultation to see if it's fit to work together, to help you understand what's going on, what's causing the fear and phobia, and to help you to understand the process that I would work with to help you resolve it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you like it, just give it a thumbs up. Just take some moment to like it, and if you want to share it, somebody great, do that. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day.